Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Curse of Oak Island. Team uncovers a possible unexplored network of tunnels at the Money Pit. Last night on The Curse of Oak Island, the guys uncovered a new tunnel in the Money Pit that appears to lead straight to the garden shaft, heightening expectations that they are on the right track to find the treasure. Also, there's a compelling new theory that the Money Pit may have been constructed in 1746 on the secret orders of the King of France, Louis XVI. So far this season, the focus is all on the garden shaft and the belief it may hold the key to finding the treasure. This shaft had previously been dismissed as a searcher shaft from the 19th century. However, the discovery of gold in the water coupled with carbon-14 dating of wood has led the guys to suspect the shaft may actually be much older and may contain the treasure. As the Dumas Mining Company works to excavate and secure the shaft, the guys are continuing with the borehole drilling nearby, and they think they've found a tunnel leading to the shaft. Once again, the guys hit wood at just over 100 feet, leading them to run a sonar check. The team sent a sonar detector down a borehole, and it bounced back an image that clearly looked like the outline of a tunnel. An underground camera allows Oak Island guys to see the Money Pit. The guys decided they needed some visual confirmation, so they next sent a camera down the borehole, and bingo, they instantly had eyes on some wood beams indicating they had definitely hit a tunnel. A turn of the camera revealed what appeared to be a tunnel opening. And what was most exciting of all, this tunnel seemed to be heading in the direction of the garden shaft. This area is completely unexplored, and there is no historical record of any work taking place here. All this means the guys may have discovered a network of tunnels and chambers built by the original treasure depositors. Oak Island theorist suspects France's King Louis XVI ordered the Money Pit to be built. In the meantime, Oak Island theorist Corjan Mall was back in the war room with a compelling new theory about who may have built the Money Pit. Corjan and his colleague Charlotte Wheatley have been researching the French archives, and they've encountered some interesting documents regarding the Duc d'Anville's voyage to Nova Scotia in 1746. Duc d'Anville led an expedition on behalf of France's King Louis XVI to recover the Canadian territory from the British. While the primary purpose of the expedition failed, there is a theory that they may have buried treasure on Oak Island. Corjan informed the guys that the archives reveal that King Louis sent 2 ships to Nova Scotia months before the main expedition with orders that have remained secret. The archives show that both ships had an unusually high number of men, and that they spent roughly 2 months in Mahone Bay, where the island lies. However, on their return to France, the commander of the 2 ships refused to reveal what they had been doing for 2 months in Mahone Bay. Corjan speculates that they were building the Money Pit and that a few months later, Duc d'Anville deposited some treasure in the newly built vault. The wind swept over Oak Island, carrying the salty tang of the Atlantic, as the team stood on the edge of the Money Pit, their breath visible in the brisk air. It had been years of relentless digging, searching, and theorizing, but today there was a palpable shift in the atmosphere. The drill had struck something unexpected, a hollow space, deep beneath the infamous Money Pit. After a century of countless excavations, detours, and dead ends, it seemed they might have stumbled upon something extraordinary, an unexplored network of tunnels. Rick Lagina stood beside the towering drilling rig, peering over the site map with intense focus. He was no stranger to hope and disappointment, but today his gut told him this was different. Beside him, his brother Marty leaned forward, eyes scanning the landscape as if expecting the ground to give up its secrets at any moment. "We've hit something," Craig Tester confirmed, his voice steady but filled with quiet excitement. He looked at the monitor displaying the subterranean data, where a large open void appeared. The team had been drilling in a new spot, just off the traditional boundaries of the Money Pit, chasing a hunch. It now seemed that hunch had paid off. It's not just a void, there are structures down there. Structures. The word hung in the air, weighty with possibility. Could this be the fabled network of tunnels that had long been rumored to exist beneath the Money Pit, part of a grander, more complex labyrinth that had evaded discovery for so long? "Let's get a camera down there," Marty said, his tone more pragmatic than excited. He had learned not to celebrate prematurely on Oak Island. Too many false leads, too many promises unkept by the Earth. The team scrambled into action, lowering a small, high-definition camera down the narrow borehole. The feed flickered to life, showing a slow descent through layers of rock and dirt. Heartbeats quickened as the camera plunged deeper into the darkness. The screen turned black, and then suddenly there it was, open space. "Stop!" Rick's voice rang out. The camera operator halted the descent, the lens now hovering just above what appeared to be a smooth stone floor. The team leaned in, breathless. The image was grainy, covered in dust particles floating in the light, but it was unmistakable. The floor below was not natural, it was man-made. And more astonishingly, there were wooden beams, still intact, holding up what looked like a tunnel wall. Rick exchanged a look with Marty. This wasn't just a pit or a sinkhole. This was a corridor, perhaps part of a larger underground network, constructed by whoever had first buried treasure on the island centuries ago. "What are we looking at here?" Gary Drayton asked, his voice tinged with awe. He was used to finding artifacts on the surface, buttons, coins, tools, but this was a discovery of a different magnitude entirely. "There's more," Jack Begley chimed in from the other side of the table, where he was examining the sonar data they had collected earlier. "It looks like this tunnel stretches far beyond the pit, way farther than we've drilled. There could be other chambers connected by this tunnel system. It might be the reason the money pit's been so elusive." Rick nodded, piecing it together. Over the centuries, anyone searching for the treasure would have been thrown off course by collapses, floods, and decoy pits. But if there was a hidden tunnel system, it would explain why no one had ever found the actual deposit. The treasure might not have been buried directly below the money pit, but hidden in a maze of passages that crisscrossed the island. "Could this be the flood tunnel system?" Marty asked, referring to the legendary booby traps designed to keep treasure hunters at bay. "It's possible," Rick replied, his mind racing. "But it could also be something entirely different, a secondary tunnel system no one's known about, maybe even a path to the original vault." The team debated the next steps, but there was no question. This discovery was too significant to ignore. They would need to open up the area, sending down a larger camera and possibly even a small team if the conditions allowed. This was uncharted territory. As the hours passed and night fell, that island was bathed in the eerie glow of floodlights. The quiet hum of equipment continued as they worked to widen the borehole. But Oak Island had always had a way of keeping its secrets close, and the team knew the challenges that lay ahead. The ground beneath their feet had swallowed the hopes of many before them, guarding its mysteries fiercely. Later that evening, as the cold crept in, Rick stood alone near the money pit, his eyes scanning the horizon. The island had a way of getting under your skin, making you feel like the next big find was always just out of reach, yet tantalizingly close. He thought about the generations of treasure hunters who had stood where he was standing, some leaving empty-handed, others disappearing without a trace. He couldn't help but wonder, had they been standing on top of the answer all along? Had this tunnel network been hiding beneath the surface, its entrance only now revealed after years of misdirection? Marty approached, his breath visible in the cold night air. "You think this is it, don't you?" he asked. Rick smiled faintly, the optimism in his eyes tempered by the island's history of heartbreak. "I don't know," he admitted, "but it feels like we're closer than we've ever been." The wind picked up again, whistling through the trees, as if the island itself was whispering secrets long buried. Tomorrow they would send down more equipment, more eyes to see what the darkness had hidden for centuries. For now the team could only speculate, their imaginations running wild with the possibilities of what lay beneath the surface. Had they truly found the key to unlocking the money pit's age-old riddle, or was this just another trap, another layer of deception in Oak Island's long history of thwarting those who dared to seek its treasure? Rick turned back to the pit, his mind filled with questions and hope, knowing that the next few days could be pivotal in their quest.